Okay, so today we're going to cover lesson 7.5. 7.5 is on percents. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to work with percents and decimals. So the first thing we're going to do is learn how to convert from a percent to a fraction to a decimal. So if they're giving it to you in words like 29%, all you need to do is take out the word percent and put the percent symbol behind the two numbers. Remember that a percent is always out of 100, or it means divided by 100. So if you were to convert something like this into a fraction, you would take away the percent sign and add 100 to the denominator. Because remember that fraction bar means division. Then if I actually divided it, 29 divided by 100, that would give me the decimal form. Another way you can think of it as is if you have a number that's got a percent sign, to turn it to a decimal, dividing by 100 is the same thing as moving the decimal point 2 times to the left. So then that would give you the 0.29. So on the next example, to turn 2.6 with the word percent to a percent, all you do is take out the word percent and put in the symbol. To turn it to a fraction, now you cannot have a decimal point in a fraction, so I'm going to first set it up with the 100 in the denominator, because when you take away the percent sign, that means 100 goes into the denominator. Now what I can do here is essentially just multiply the numerator and the denominator by 10, or move it 2 times, or move it once, and then you get 260 over, or 26 over 1,000.
I'm doing 6.2.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I taught 6.1. It was fast.
Yeah.
But and I did 2 days of it, so you'll see.
Okay.
But if you could, thank you.
So I'm printing one version, and it's one you sent, right?
No, it's 2.
You've already sent, so all I have to do is pick it up.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So again, if you're going to move it once in the numerator, you move it once in the denominator. So the fraction equivalent for 2.6% is 26 over 1,000. And again, if you wanted to convert this to a decimal, again, remember you're moving the decimal point 2 times to the left. 1, 2. Notice there was no number to go around it, so you're going to fill that basket with an egg and make it 0.026. Okay, this should be a review. Everybody done this before in middle school? Convert decimals to percents, percents to decimals, and also to fractions. If not, here's a new thing for you to learn. So again, take away the percent sign, or the percent word, and add the percent sign. And again, you can have an improper fraction. Remember, a percent is always out of 100. And you can leave it like that. Now you could also turn it into a mixed number, and this would be 6 and 37 over 100. Again, if you wanted to make it a decimal, you're going to move it 2 times to the left, and this would be, as a decimal, 6.37. For this one, when the percent is less than 1, again, we're still going to take away the word percent and just add in the percent symbol. When I'm going to make it into the fraction, you're going to put it in there first as is with the 100 in the denominator, but then we got to get rid of that decimal point.
Isn't it 0.25?
Which one?
The 1/4.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing still this one. I know my line's off. I'm going to get there, but yes, it's going to be 0.25. Absolutely. Here I got to move it 2 times, so I need to move it 2 times here. Fill those basket with eggs, and this will become 2 over 10,000. And then to make this into a decimal, we're still moving it 2 times to the left, even though there's a decimal point there. So right now it looks like this, and I need to move it 2 times to the left. So my decimal version of that percent is 0.0002. Now for the 1/4, you need to make it a decimal first, and you should realize that 1/4 is 0.25. and then you would add the percent sign. And then from there, make it a fraction by doing 0.25 over 100. Adjust it by moving it 2 times. And then that would be the fraction equivalent. And then the decimal equivalent, again, move it 2 times from where it is. 33 1/3. Again, I would make it improper. So I would multiply. So you could write it like this, 33 1/3%.
I'm just thinking of sorting because the machine's stupid. So.
Okay. All right. So then just add the percent sign. To make it into a fraction, make it improper. So multiply 3 times 33 plus 1. You get 100 over 3. And then, again, remember, it's over 100. So this fraction bar means division. So really what we're doing here is 100 over 3 divided by 100, which is multiplied by the reciprocal. So the fraction equivalent is going to be, this will simplify, is 1/3. All right, so let's try converting fractions into percents.
Okay, so when you do the switch, just pick this up and put that on the floor of your calculator.
Okay, all right, so to convert a fraction into a percent, again, I'm going to use a proportion because remember that percent is out of 100. So for the 3/5, I'm going to set it up, write the first fraction, and then I want to know what number out of 100 would be that percent. And then I'm going to treat this as a proportion and apply cross products here. So 5 times x, 3 times 100, and then divide. So 3/5, x equals 60, so it's 60%. We'll do the same thing on the 1/3. Again, you're going to set it up as a proportion. Cross multiply. And then divide. Should be 100. So when I divide here, I'm actually going to get 33.3 repeating. However, I'm just going to make it a mixed number. I'm going to take the remainder and make it 33 1/3%. Over here, this is actually going to be a percent that's greater than 100. So I'm going to take the 4.7, put a 1 underneath it, x over 100. Cross multiply, and you get 470%. Everybody good on converting fractions and decimals to percents? All right. Now, notice on here it says most calculators have a percent key. We will not be using calculators, so you'll have to do all these calculations by hand. Let's try another example. Now it's a little different. Now they're going to ask us to either find a percent of a number or find what number is what percent of something. Again, the book is going to show you that the word of means multiply. The word is means the equal sign. I'm going to set this up as a proportion. You could also set it up as an equation, but I'm going to do it a little differently than the book, and we're going to keep using the proportions that we're used to. So the number with the percent sign is always going to go over 100 because a percent is always out of 100. The number that is next to the word of, so I'm going to set my proportion up as is over of, and then the number with the percent sign, and it's always over 100. So 180 is going to go in the denominator, and then is what number is my variable. And then I'm going to apply the cross products. So here, again, 100x is equal to 180 times 15. So I would multiply this and then figure out what my answer is. So divide by 100, and x is equal to 27. So what number is 27? The next one, I'll do the same thing. Is over of, percent over 100. So 23. I don't know the of. So 23 over x is equal to 25 over 100. Now, anytime you're doing these proportions, if you want to simplify this fraction, so it's not such a big number, you could reduce that 25 over 100 to 1/4. So 23 over x is equal to 1/4, and then cross products. So 23 times 4, and x is equal to 92. Now, there are other ways you can do these mentally. I'll probably show you some tricks tomorrow. But since we've been doing proportion, this is why I'm showing you the proportion method. Again, you can do these using equations also. Let me show you another example here. Again, what percent of 64? So that's my denominator. Notice I'm looking for what percent. So the number on top of the 100 is my variable, and then the is goes on top. And again, you'll cross products. So 64x is equal to 4,800. Divide by 64. And x is equal to 75. And again, whenever you have decimals in your problem, you could multiply every single term by a power of 10 to clear the decimal. So for example, on this one, I could multiply everything by 10, or essentially move the decimal point on every single term one time, including the 36 that doesn't have a decimal point. So I could clear my decimal point. So right now I have 1.2x, 36. Remember, it could be like 36.0. So it can also have a decimal point. So by multiplying everything by 10, it's going to make the decimal point move. So you get 12x is equal to 36 plus 4x. Move the 4. And then you're left with 8x equals 36. And actually 360. Divide both sides by 8, and x is equal to 45. On this one, you have to be careful. We don't want to move the decimal point on every single piece. So what I would do first is I would distribute the 0.8 first, and then clear the decimal point. So for example, or if you realize that the number that's outside here is the only one you're going to move, not what's in the parentheses. I believe we did this at the beginning of the year. So really what we're doing is I'm going to multiply this one by 100, this by 100, and this by 100. And that'll clear my decimal point. So 9,400, 15x, and now this becomes an 8 that I can distribute to the 1,000 and to the x. So 9,400, 15x plus 8,000 minus 8x. And then group these like terms, and I get 9,400 is equal to 7x plus 8,000. Move the 8,000, and I get 1,400, divide by 7, and x is equal to 200. And we have one word problem. What I'm going to do is, for the word problem, this example, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the video after you guys leave. But you do have homework for this lesson. We are going to spend tomorrow on it. So your homework for this lesson for today only is 1 through 32 all. You don't really have any of the word problems, so I think what I'll do tomorrow is in class, I will work out the word problems. So your homework tonight is just what I just did, all the examples. So 1 through 32 all. And then tomorrow what I'll do in class is I'm going to work out 32 and 36 from lesson 7-4, and then any of this homework. So that's it for today, and then tomorrow I'll reinforce these percents. And actually, let's see.